afternoon, everybody. Mike Naso here from Internet Partnership Radio with the latest on Tropical Storm Debby, which is getting closer and closer to a landfall. We've been watching very, very carefully the last couple of days as Debby really hasn't moved much in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, but now it's just offshore areas of the Florida Big Bend region, say Cross City, Florida. Looks like landfall will occur within the next 12 to 24 hours if it keeps speeding up as it appears to be doing. But you can see most of the convection now is actually offshore, which is good news because some places have had flooding and up to 25 inches of rain, but the rainfall threat will persist. Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Debby, and this is as of 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It was at 29.3 north, 83.6 west, and we've continued to see it speed up just a little bit now, east-northeast at 5 miles per hour, still 995 millibars. Winds are only at 40 as a minimum tropical storm, and as we can see on the track, it's obviously a little to the north and east of its track, and a little bit faster it looks like, so this may have to be adjusted, but regardless, generally off to the east or east-northeast over the next several days, and by the time the weekend ends, we will be looking at Debby moving out into the Atlantic Ocean, where conditions might be a little bit more favorable for some re-intensification. Indeed, by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if it gets over the warmer waters of the Gulf Stream and organizes a bit, we can see some intensification, not too much. We still have those tropical storm warnings from Mexico Beach to Inglewood as Debby continues to bring tropical storm force winds to the coast. And the computer models, once again, are still showing Debby with an obvious motion now out across the state of Florida out to sea, although some do try and loop it back here, the BAMs. You gotta watch because the BAM shallow and medium, depending on how weak Debby remains, who knows if it got caught up over Florida, if it came back into the Gulf. If it did, I wouldn't be too worried, at least not about any kind of extreme intensification with it, if any. Here's the GFS model and the ensembles, which all now indicate clearly Debby is going to be moving on off towards the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean, and we won't have to deal with it. Now here's the latest radar, and you can clearly see that Debby is getting closer and closer to landfall. We've been watching this center of circulation very carefully over the last couple of hours as it's very ill-defined and weak, but nonetheless still a circulation center. And if I do move in a little closer here on the radar range and try and show you exactly where we're looking at, you can see the center there. Cross City is looking more and more likely as a possible area to have the center pass over, and we're going to watch that carefully because, again, Debby is still a tropical storm and there's still that threat that persists with any tropical storm. There's the visible satellite over the last several hours as the sun went down and came back up. Debby still not moving, and we're going to see that center of circulation continue to weaken as most of the storms now are on the right side of it and are dragging away as the center remains here, but even still we've got that increasing motion towards the east-northeast. You can see that even better on the IR where there's very, very little convection around the center, and the circulation in this area right here very, very dry. If I told you we had a tropical storm, you might not be able to pick it out, at least not by satellite. There's the radar, and you can see a lot of heavy rainfall. That's still the main threat with Debby, even though some people may say we need rain, we need rain. You don't need 30 inches pouring on you in 24 hours. And in this region right here in the Big Bend, we've seen a lot of heavy rain. Remember, 24 hours ago we had that huge convective burst, and that's the one currently over the Atlantic Ocean that created a lot of heavy rain. Still, showers and storms across the Florida Peninsula. You'll have to watch out for the possibility, at least, of isolated tornadoes. There's an indication of heavy rain if ever I saw it. I mean, that is some very, very high rain amounts right in here. And again, you're looking at 15 plus inches at least. Areas just south of Tallahassee, just to the north and east of Apalachicola, right in the Big Bend area where we've had just copious amounts of rain, torrential rain, and we're going to continue to see that until Debby pushes on out. As far as this year's hurricane name list, to get to it, we've definitely gotten to it. We went through Alberto and Beryl and Chris and now Debby, and we are waiting on Ernesto. This hurricane name list going back has only had a couple memorable storms from it. Gordon wasn't retired, but it killed thousands in the Caribbean in late 1994. Obviously, we had Joyce as a new name that was only used in the year 2000. It replaced Joan, which was a devastating hurricane for Nicaragua in 1988, and Kirk replaced Hurricane Keith of 2000. And other than that, we're pretty much still on the same names as we've been for a while. There haven't been any very memorable Florences or Isaacs, but with I name storms, who knows? I name storms: Igor, Ivan, Iris, even Ida in 2009. So we'll wait and see what happens this year and how far down the name list we get. Right now it's looking like it could be an average to slightly above average season, so we'll see if we get to these names down here, and if we start to get this way, we'll have a very active season. But just because we have an active season doesn't always mean we're going to see a big hurricane. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm Mike Naso from Internet Partnership Radio. Head to IPR365.com and our YouTube page for more video updates and archives. I'll see you next time.